Hey guys, and thanks for joining us for another Elite Coach Live. Hopefully you are ready for a nice bank holiday weekend. So I know I'm definitely looking forward to it. The bags under my eyes probably suggest that I'm looking forward to it as well. So I am joined by one of my favorite coaches because she's probably on the same wavelength. We seem to be in anytime one of us does a challenge, we don't even chat about it to each other. We just all of a sudden we're doing a challenge and we're going, oh, I'm doing that as well, or I'm doing that. It started with a 4x4 48. So, Liza, how we going, mate? How's life treating you?
Yeah, life is pretty good. Yeah, it's all good. Like I say, gearing up to a nice bank holiday. So, looking forward to that.
Nice. For the guys who don't know like much about you, haven't seen you in the Elite Coach Network and stuff, do you want to give us a bit of a background of who you are, what you do?
Yeah, okay, so I've been in the fitness industry since 2016. Previously to that, I was an HR director, so something completely different.
That is a change of career, that, isn't it?
It is, but you'd be amazed how many people go from HR to this sort of thing. It actually, the transferable skills and mindset is actually quite similar. So, but I started off as an indoor cycle coach because I love indoor cycling and was literally like, I'm going to stay as an HR director, do a little bit of indoor cycle. And within 6 months, I was like, no, this is what I want to do. Since then, I've built my own fitness brand. I'm obviously a level 4 strength and conditioning coach, an Ironman coach, and my sports that I personally participate in are OCR, CrossFit, and triathlon. So that is me, really.
There we go. So pretty much what we're saying here, guys, as you can see, is she's a glutton for punishment and she likes to just put herself through the absolute ringer through either insane endurance events or just going absolutely hell for leather in the gym. So that is pretty much. Would you say that's a fair description of yourself, mate?
Yeah, I guess. I know a lot of people see me as quite extreme. I personally don't, but I guess it depends on the circles that you run in, right? Because in the circle of my friends, I'm probably one of the least extreme. Yeah, right. Within the clients that I have and within the people that I coach, yeah, they see me as like, they see me like David Goggins, which I love. But I do not flatter myself that I am anywhere on his level ever. But it's nice to know that there's that kind of like, you know, we are to them what he is to us, I guess. So
yeah, that's it. And I think that's it's a really nice one because it shows that you are doing things and you are setting an example, right? Because I think we always look to David Goggins, Andy Frisella, you know, the Iron Cowboy, all of these guys that kind of just motivate you and just give you that kick up the backside when you need it. Like some days you just flick something on and you just watch it and you go, stop messing about here and crack on with it. So it's nice that we have that impact on our clients as well, right? Good stuff. So, guys, I wanted to have this discussion today because, as we said, we both recently went through a bit of a challenge. Now, on the surface, it looks like a fitness challenge. And I can 100% say that is not the case at all. No. Right. So, do you want to give us just a bit of a rundown? I'll let you chat through it, mate. Do you want to give us a rundown of the challenge that we've both just completed in similar sort of timescales?
Okay, so it is by a guy called Andy Frisella, and he created something called the 75 Hard. And in a nutshell, as I say, it's not a fitness challenge; it's a mindset challenge. It is 75 days. And for all of those 75 days, you basically have to abide by the rules, essentially. And those rules are that you must do 2 workouts every day. 1 must be outdoors. They cannot be consecutive, which is one of the bits that really screwed me up. You must drink 4 liters of water a day or an imperial gallon. And in the US, an imperial gallon is like 3.8 something. So 4 liters. You must read 10 pages of an actual book. You cannot read a Kindle. You cannot listen to an audiobook. It must be an actual book. You must follow a diet. That diet must be strict. It must not be easy. So like if you're doing calorie counting and macro counting, obviously you could kind of go, well, I'm going to have a Papa John's pizza because I can make it fit. No, that's a cheat. Yeah. Rule 6, no cheat meals, no alcohol. And I think that's all. Take a progress picture every day.
Yeah.
And that's the one that screwed me up in the beginning.
So on the surface, I think everybody looks at it, and I've spoke to quite a few people about this. On the surface, you look at it and you go, yeah, I can do that. I like reading. I love training and stuff like that. Yeah, I could do that. But I think probably within the first 5 or 6 days, I think once the novelty had wore off, I think it was like, wow, this is actually going to be tough, right? I don't know if you had that same sort of experience.
Yeah, the reason I did it, I'd looked at it back in the summer and I'd instantly dismissed it because one of the things I'm really strict on is that you can't do these crazy challenges that have no breaks, have nothing. And I was like, you can't train for 65 days. You can't do 2 workouts 75 days. That's ridiculous. That's overtraining. That's injury. Forget it. Then I had a friend that went through it, and it's someone that I really look up to. And then I spoke to her and she was like, oh, no, but it's not quite that. Like a walk can count as your outdoor workout. And I was like, okay, now I understand it. I went and did some more research. And when I really listened to it and looked at it, I was like, well, that's how I live.
Mm.
And that's kind of why I did it, because I wanted to prove to myself and go, well, if you think it's that easy, if you think that that's how you live, then do it. And that was kind of my big why to do it, because I kind of go, well, all this stuff that you say about yourself, is it true?
Yeah.
And like you kind of go, yeah, I do kind of do it, but not religiously, and actually having to stick to it. By the time the novelty wears off and everyone's a little bit disinterested, because when you first do it, if you talk about it, I don't like talking about what I'm doing. I talk about what I've done. But I was posting it on Instagram every day as like my accountability thing to make sure that I did it. And for the first 7 to 10 days, people were really interested. And then people just get really bored. And they're like, oh, 75 hard again. And you're like, yeah, you feel like that? Think how I bloody feel. So, yeah, day 20 to 25, I think, was where it got a little bit, oh, God, really?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think I'm very similar. Like I wanted to do this challenge a couple of years ago, and I attempted it and I failed within the first like 3 or 4 days. And
okay.
I think back then what I didn't know is I didn't give it the full appreciation it deserved, but also I don't think I understood I just probably wasn't in the right mindset as such for it, in terms of like, I can do everything else but this and still get great results. And that was my mindset then. But now in the turn of the year, I know COVID had really responsible for like a lot of bad habits for myself personally. So I was like, I want to use this to shake stuff up. I want to use this to give me a bit of a kick up the backside.
Right.
And I think what it did do is it forced me to really look at this stuff in between it. So in terms of like the 2 workouts a day, the recovery protocol, the recovery process, because like you, I was like, nah, train twice a day for 75 days, no chance. And I'm like, hang on, like boxers in camp typically do that sort of stuff. You know, people like worked in professional football teams and rugby teams, and they train twice a day. And obviously they have a day off after match and stuff, but the intensity is through the roof. So it's like, it's not the training twice a day, it's the managing it twice a day. And that was the biggest thing for me, is that managing it. So I think that was kind of a big thing for me. It was a catalyst of saying, no, here's a line on the sign. Stop telling yourself stories and start getting out your comfort zone and pushing yourself. And it certainly did that. So, I mean, what was kind of your biggest results that you kind of had from it then?
So, I mean, the body composition is the easiest one to talk about because it's the one that was really obvious to see. I say I didn't go into it for that. I never trained for aesthetics. One of the things I try and drill into clients straight away is like, don't chase aesthetic goals because you won't get them. Performance goals, focus on that, and then you get all the aesthetic stuff for free. And I kind of proved that with this challenge. Like I dropped, I don't know, like 8 kilograms. My body fat went down, my muscle went up. Like I looked completely different. I've put photos up of like, this was day 1, this was day 75. And like I wasn't in bad shape on day 1. I was in insane shape on day 75. Like, I found a yoga that I really love because obviously, like you're saying, those recovery protocols, like one of those workouts could be a mobility session. And I really like mobility, but doing mobility for 45 minutes is a bit, God. But then I found yin yoga, which I'd never really known about. I thought, I don't like yoga, but yin yoga is basically that, long mobility sessions. I was like, that's something that stayed with me.
Yeah.
And the sitting down with a book, that was the one. Like, I'm reading all the time, but to every day carve out a bit of time and not do it on an audiobook while I'm walking, or not sit down with a Kindle, like get away from electronics and really create that space where it's just me about that piece of learning. Was amazing. That's like the yoga and the reading are the two things that have massively like stayed with me.
Yeah.
So I think they're, from the rules, they're like my biggest takeaways.
That's really cool. And I think what's really important, and for you guys watching now, is I think the biggest thing that the challenge does is forces you to look at yourself and forces you to level up your own performance. And as coaches, it's so easy to get caught up in the hamster wheel of everybody else, give, which is great. But if you don't fill up your own cup of water, you can't hydrate anybody else. When somebody else needs water, you can't give it to them because yours is empty, right? And I think what 75 Hard did for me was it forced me to look at it and go, no, I need to put more into myself so I can give more to others. And that simple thing like reading every day, it was calming myself down, looking at some good reading. I love reading. I was doing it regularly, but never that time of carving out reading 10 pages of a book every single day. And I think it was just that full mindset shift of discipline. If you be uber disciplined, you actually can achieve a lot more with your life.
Yeah,
I think that was kind of my biggest thing from that. And so obviously carving out those few things, how would you say it had a bit of an impact on your coaching and the people that you work with, apart from them being bored that you were still on this challenge?
I say it was that for them. I think it was kind of inspirational. Like, everyone would be coming in and be like, "Oh my god, what day is it now?" What you really used to, because my diet, one of the biggest diet rules that I did was to cut refined sugar. And that was a massive thing for me. Like, I don't eat a lot of it, but the difference that made, and they'd be like, "Oh my god, you're still having a chocolate, you're still having a donut. Oh my god, they're amazing." Like, okay, not amazing, just cutting sugar. So I think from them, again, seeing like, it's that walk the walk thing, right? We ask so much of our clients. We ask them to put themselves out the comfort zone, challenge themselves all the time. So for them to realize that actually we find ways to do that ourselves, I think really helped. For me, I think one of the things I looked at was my complacency with my coaching. Like, I know what works, but okay, I thought I knew what worked for me before 75 Hard, and actually making these tiny little changes, I got massive results. So am I actually being a bit complacent with my clients, and actually shouldn't I be doing the exact same thing? So shaking stuff up for me, take that and kind of look at, we know that gets results. We know that works. We know doing this works, but actually what else can we do? And that was a massive thing for me. Like, it did give me just a massive mental kind of like shake the snow globe and see what other options there are. Because I think I had got into a bit of I get great results with my clients, but actually probably could I do more now?
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool, because ultimately that's what coaching is, right? I think coaching, we give people, we coach people through getting them through where they want to be. But ultimately, we need to constantly try and improve ourselves as coaches. And improving ourselves as coaches, it's very easy to say, I'll jump on the next course, I'll read this book. But realistically, I'll spend 50 quid on a book, I'll read the first 5 pages, then it'll go on my nice, lovely bookshelf, and I'll never read it again. Typically, I'm speaking from experience. But by going through 75 Hard, I think ultimately the key thing is discipline. And discipline to constantly shining a light on myself and upgrading myself actually then allowed me to become even better and more impactful in my coaching. And again, in that inspirational story of you're leading the way, you are being the leading light. And I think what a lot of my clients appreciated was showing those times of vulnerability when they would ask me, how's it going? It's like, it's really tough. I'm really struggling at the moment with, like, these things are really, really tough. And I think that just allowed me to build an even bigger relationship with the guys and the people I work with. And they were like, he struggles as well. And it makes it more relatable. Not that they were wishing ill on me, but I think sometimes it's very much easy for your client to go, well, it's easy for you because you're a coach, you do this, you do that.
One phrase I get all the time. Oh, it's easy for you. And I'm like, what is the difference? Why is it easy for me? Do you know why it's easy for me? Because I have discipline. But I have worked so hard to build that discipline. But I get it all the time. And it's probably the one phrase that drives me mad. Oh, it's easy for you.
Yeah.
Like, I get 75 hard. Was it massively hard? No, for most part it was inconvenient. But I remember like there was one day, it was Sunday. I'd had a really busy day. I'd gone and done like an indoor cycle class in the morning. I bricked it with a run because I'm in the middle of Ironman training. So that only counted as one workout. The brick one wasn't long enough to be the outdoor workout. And it got to 9 o'clock at night and I still hadn't got my outdoor workout. And it was a freaking storm outside. And Carl was just like, well, just let it go. Carl's my husband. He was like, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, I'm going to stick my bloody dry robe on and I'm going 45 minutes down the road. And he was like, really? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, because that's what you have to do. And that's the difference between someone that has discipline and doesn't. Yeah. Like I started this with 4 other guys, the 4 guys that I did the 4x4x48 with. We're a little team. I said I was going to do it. Instantly, they all jumped on and were like, yeah, we're going to do it. Only 2 of us finished it. And the other 2 just instantly found ways to find, one of them was like, but these rules are stupid. It's like, but you knew the rules when you said you were going to do it. Like, you can't moan about the game after you've said yes to playing it. Like, yeah. And they were just like, it's easy for you. You don't have kids. It's easy for you. You don't have this. I'm like, I have other stuff. Like, we've all got a reason to say no. We've all got a reason to quit. But what's your reason for saying yes? Yeah. Like, I didn't have to go for that walk. It was one of the most miserable 45 minutes of like the last couple of years. Yeah.
I had a few similar situations like that. And I think the key thing that we're trying to say, and hopefully people are taking away from this, is it's not specifically the challenge or we did this or we did that. It's more about, it was the daily actions and the daily disciplines which lead to the long-term results. When we talk about that with our clients we say, I want to lose these for holiday. And we say, no, it's long-term. It's, and we've got to get there. And ultimately, if you want to be a successful coach, you've got to do some of the daily stuff that you might not think are going to make big differences further down the line. Posting regularly on social media, learning some of the latest research, being a kind of addicted to your craft in that way. We look at it and we go, it's okay, I'm doing all right, I've got a few clients. If you want to be the best coach you can be, you've constantly got to get out of your comfort zone, and you've got to put yourself in a situation where you are doing same stuff over and over and over again, but you don't feel the difference, or you don't notice the difference straight away. It takes time. And I think that's what I really took away. And obviously I'm into the next phase now, which just takes it up another notch, right? But I think that's the thing that we've got to take away from this is, if you want to level up and be the best coach you can possibly be, sometimes you've just got to get disciplined. You've got to double down on the actions and do the stuff that you said you would do. And I think that's what the biggest takeaway was for me, was this challenge was like. So I don't know if you'd agree with that, mate.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's all those, like you say, it's the small changes. Like the guy that I finished it with, like we were constantly saying all the way through, like, we thought that this challenge was for us because it's kind of how we live. We made a few small changes, like they weren't massive things for us at all. And the amount that we got from it, we were like, it's amazing how much a little over a decent amount of time turns into something massive. Yeah. Like, that blew both our minds. Like, we've both been into, like, I've been in the fitness industry since 2016, but like I've been into fitness and sport all my life. And to kind of learn this at 44, going, wow, so just making those few small changes and being that extra bit disciplined, and I got that much, that's insane. That is absolutely insane. So
yeah, and I think what the biggest thing there to take away for you guys watching is, you're actually closer than you think 9 times out of 10. Yeah, but it's definitely the extra 5-10% that sometimes you may not even be aware of it, or you don't put enough of an emphasis on it to get to where you want to be. So it's kind of the daily emails, it's the turning up and doing the extra stuff that you said you would. It's being disciplined in your own intentions, in your actions, and it's actually trusting the process. You know, it's looking at just saying, right, well, I feel rubbish today. Yeah, but that's just part of it. It's about where you feel in 6 months' time, 9 months, 12 months' time. This is a long-term project. Every time you stop, you go backwards. You know, so it's about just keep moving forward, but you decide if you want to move forward a millimeter or if you want to move forward a meter at a time. And moving a meter at a time doesn't take 10 times as much effort. Sometimes it just takes a few little tweaks here and there, and that's what 75 hard does, is just those little changes that you think, I couldn't possibly do that, but they make massive results off the back end of it.
Definitely.
So obviously you've got lots going on now with haven't you got a few guys going out to world champs in the Ironman and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I've got 2 Ironman athletes going out to the 70.3 World Championships. I've got one that's just got a place for the big Roth event that goes on, big full event. I've got a couple of competitive guys going to OCR. So yeah, I got a bit going on. Not a huge amount, but I got a bit.
Just a bit. So obviously, it's with these guys. Obviously, they've got the bit by the teeth, right? They are laser focused on that, and I'm not saying it's easy for them, but when you've got a big goal like that, do you feel like sometimes that, right, okay, the big goal was completing the challenge, but actually that discipline, that laser focused of not a massive event, because at the end of the day, it's self-accountability, wasn't it? It's like, if you don't do the challenge, you don't do the challenge. It's not like a world championships or anything like that. But do you feel like you're in a position where you can empower your athletes a little bit more, and you're in a position where you can sort of tune into them a little bit more and understand them?
Yeah, definitely. So I don't generally race competitively. I don't have a competitive streak. I'm a value for money girl. You give me 16 hours to do an Ironman, I'm going to take 16 hours because they're expensive, right? That's kind of my theory. Also, I don't like competing with my athletes. I've had a couple of athletes recently that have come to me from a previous coach, and the previous coach almost held them back because there was a bit of ego there and they didn't want their athletes to get better than them. And I was a bit like, well, you'll never get that with me. Like, I want you to be the best that you can be. And I do talk to them about, you know, we do a lot of mindset stuff. The one guy that qualified for the world champs this year, he's been trying for 2 years. He came to me 14 months ago. He's always been an amazing athlete. The thing that we've changed is his mindset and his discipline. So we've talked a lot about, he would always judge his results. And one of the things I say to my athletes is, I don't judge results, I judge effort. So if you turn up at an event and you know that you've done everything that we've asked of you in training, and you give that event 100% and you genuinely couldn't do any more, we can't be mad at the event. We can't be mad at the result, right? If it's not good to get you what you want, back to the drawing board, we try again, we figure out where we need to get better. And that was the massive game changer for him. And that's where I talk about stuff like 75 hard, doing the 4x4x48. Like the team that I run, that I call a little accountability group, we're called Team NBR, no bling required, because we don't do anything for recognition. We do it to make ourselves better. Yeah. And so I talk about that with a lot of my athletes. Like, you know, yes, it's great to have the accolades of the world championships and you've got your place and you've got this. But day to day, like, that's not going to be on your tombstone, right? Your tombstone's not going to say 70.3 world championship. It's going to talk about you. Like, when your family stand up at the end of the day and talk about you as a person, they're going to talk about who you were. And that's where discipline shapes who you are. To be a better athlete, you've got to be a better person, I personally think. Yeah. And that's what I work with my athletes, and that's where I talk about these sort of things. When they say, well, like, why would you do that? It's like, because it can make me better. Will it translate into a faster time on the track or whatever? I don't know. But will it make me a better person? 100%. And if you're trying to maximize potential in every part of your life, good stuff's going to come in every part of your life. And I truly believe that.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely amazing words there, do you know? And I think at 100%, with you every single step of the way. I love that, like kind of that MBR. That's a great mindset because I think it's very much of you focus on the process, you focus on the journey, and not specifically the outcome. Especially in a world which is very superficial, very materialistic in terms of what does success look like. And I think as coaches, obviously we can be judged on, is there a PB on the bar? Is there a PB on the road? You know, whatever it may be. But that's such a small part of what goes into being a coach. And I think once you realize that, if you can tap into the different areas of your life and see how it does link. So being fully hydrated, following a good diet. I'm not saying living like a monk. I'm saying follow a really good system and a structure. It actually does lend itself to you've got more energy throughout the day, so you can coach better. You're reading constantly, which is forcing you to become a better person. It's leveling yourself up. And by you leveling up, you're leveling up the people around you because you can have a greater impact on them. So ultimately, it's like it's just like going to a lake and chucking a stone in the water. You see this big ripple effect. We're talking about it all the time, but I think that's what that self-discipline absolutely does.
Yeah, I like the phrase leveling up, and I talk about it with my clients quite a lot. And I would say to them, you know, like when you're a kid, leveling up meant a computer game, right? And to get to the next level, you had to like defeat some big bad, or you had to get some superpower. But that's what we're talking about, right? When you want to level up as a coach, or you want to level up as a, you've got to overcome something, or you've got to become better. And that's what you look at. And I always do that. Like I do like my own little SWOT analysis. And if I do it 6 months and nothing's changed, then I'm like, we're back to that complacency that I was talking about. Like something slipped somewhere, something. I'm not making my progression to that next level. Like I haven't defeated that big bad. Like, what is it?
Yeah, no, that's it. That's, again, you're coming out with them today, mate. I love it. And I think ultimately for you guys watching, this isn't us saying go and do 75 hard. This isn't you saying, right, go and find something, a big meaty challenge or something. What we're trying to say, and hopefully you're getting that, is it starts with you. And ultimately you might think, oh, I need more knowledge here. I need more knowledge there. I need to do this. I need to do that. But it all starts with you, and it starts with your daily habits, your daily disciplines, and your commitments. And what I'd say is all of those things sit there, but ultimately at the top of it has got to be that clarity of who are you trying to become and why you're trying to become that person. Because once you get the clarity on that, the commitment and the disciplines become so much easier. I think back when I tried it a couple of years ago, the 75 hard, and I failed, it was like, because I didn't know what I was trying to achieve from it. It was just like, that looks like a pretty good challenge. I'll challenge myself in that way. I didn't understand what I was trying to get from it. Whereas I knew 100% this time round, it was, right, I want to have a reset. I want to build some really good habits that I've let slip. And actually, I want to get myself out of my comfort zone so I can be in a better position to help more people. And if you do the same thing over and over and over again, but expect different results, well, the definition of that is insanity. And it's funny, somebody released a fitness program called Insanity, and I could never work my mind around that because I was like,
so I used to coach that program.
Yeah, but like I looked at it, I was like, yeah, but the definition of insanity is doing the same stuff over and over again, and
it definitely wasn't.
I was like, it doesn't really make sense. But there you go. I digress. But top and bottom of it, I think daily disciplines is one of the things that if you want to make this commitment to being a coach and you want to level up, regardless of where you are now, I don't care if you are just starting out on the level 2, 3, if you've been in the industry for 10, 15 years, you know, and you've achieved some great stuff, there's always room for improvement. And it doesn't have to be big, drastic things that you change to get to the next level. It always starts with little tiny changes which make the big difference.
Yeah.
100%. Good stuff. Yeah. So, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed that, mate. I really appreciate you coming on. Guys, if you've got any questions around coaching Ironman endurance athletes, triathletes, any of that sort of stuff, where can they reach out to you, mate? Where's the best way to grab hold of you?
I am on Facebook. I am on Instagram. Just drop me a message. I reply to everything, because one of the disciplines that I am trying to build is my social media and getting better at replying to people. So I'm really good when people drop me instant messages, but like when I do phase one of my three extra power moves, or whatever they're called, is going to be posting on social media every day. So I'm like, if I make it part of that challenge, I'm going to do it. And I know it's one of those little things, like the marketing side of my business is what I'm not good at. And it's the bit that makes the difference, right? Because the coaches that are massively successful, your Joe Wicks and people like that, like they're not better than us, but they're doing the daily stuff to get their name out there, get their brand out there. So that is my next goal. But yeah, guys, any questions, if you think I can help you with anything, just reach out to me. I will happily chat, especially Ironman. CrossFit, OCR, I can talk your ear off.
Yeah, there you go. I bet you'll have a few people taking about. And I think the one final little point there is the fact that just mentioned some great coaches is the consistency. They didn't just do it for a 30-day ad campaign or any of that sort of stuff. It was turning up day in, day out. You've got to turn up for yourself first and foremost. You turn up for yourself first and foremost, then you can turn up for your clients. If you don't turn up, if you already turn up for your clients and you take your eye off what you do on a daily basis and you don't hold yourself accountable, it will come back around to bite you in the backside, and it will just slow you down. It will slow your progress, and it will end up being insanity of doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome time and time again. So, right, mate, I've really enjoyed that chat. If you've got any questions at all, guys, drop them in the comment section. We'll make sure that we get back to them and stuff like that. But as always, hopefully you've took a lot from this, and you'll join us next week for another Elite Coach Live. Enjoy the rest of your day, mate. We'll catch up again very, very soon.
Thanks very much.